Back on Get Up, and if you're just joining us, this was the scene last night in Milwaukee. The Bucks and the Suns, a game that the home team desperately needed, and the fans were ready inside and outside the arena, and so was their superstar, picking it up in the second quarter. The ball is going to find Giannis, and Giannis is going to do that. Milwaukee taking a lead. Look at the determination on the face of the big fella. More fight inside from Giannis. They had 13 offensive rebounds in this game. Milwaukee dominating in the paint, especially after Deandre Ayton got himself into foul trouble. There's more from Giannis. He had 41 last night. Back-to-back 40-point games in the finals. He added 13 rebounds. Bucks win at 120-100, their first win in this series. So it's 2-1, and look who is here. Cassidy Hubbarth makes her way here, covers the league all season long for us, obviously. And you were telling us this morning, Giannis's mindset, you see it, the determination in the face there. What can you tell us?
I mean, this is a guy a week and a half ago thought that he was done for the year. And he revealed last night that his knee was double in size the night of the injury. And here he is putting up historic numbers in the NBA Finals. We all probably look like the PJ Tucker meme watching him last night, but he said he was just happy to be out there competing with his teammates. And that live in the moment mentality is something he's tried to live by all season. I sat down with him before the year, right after he signed that Supermax deal, and I asked him why he decided to sign the deal this year and not test out free agency and essentially get the same offer next season. He said, I didn't want the pressure, not for himself, but for his teammates to be constantly asked, is he staying, is he going? And he said, I didn't want to give up a year in my prime with those types of distractions. And that type of mentality, if you apply it to his play on the court, playing dominant inside is when he's most free. It's when you see him settling for jump shots or threes. He's pressing, trying to be someone he's not. And there's this notion that has come up during these playoffs that when Giannis realizes that he's more Shaq than Kobe, that his true superpowers will be unleashed. And, you know, last night he became just the second player in NBA history to have 40-point, 10-rebound games in back-to-back NBA Finals, joining Shaq.
And LeBron as the other one. But that's such an interesting thought. Let me bring Legler in on that here, Cassidy, because I think that is such an interesting way of looking at it. We've talked so much about what Giannis needs to do to be his most effective, Legs, and I haven't heard it put any better than that. He needs to realize he's more Shaq than he is Kobe.
It's a phenomenal point, and I think with Giannis Antetokounmpo, one of the things I've said about him is, and this is a rare thing I'll ever say about an athlete, he may want it so badly that he may never get it. And what I mean by that is he wants so desperately to be a guy that checks off every single box offensively, like most of the other superstars in this league that lead teams deep into the playoffs or lead teams to championships. He wants to be able to end games the same way. Unfortunately, that's not playing to his strengths. So when he does that, it actually benefits the teams he's playing. And I know that Giannis wants desperately to take this organization someplace they haven't been in almost 50 years. It means so much to him. It's such an admirable thing for a guy to feel that responsibility, to work that hard to try to make it happen. But he has to always stay within himself and understand when he does that, there is no answer for this guy physically. You're going to have to do things to completely compromise what you normally do defensively, and that's going to open up a lot of opportunities for other people on this team. But when he buys into that bait, when he takes that 17-footer, when he takes that three off one pass up the floor, you are completely bailing out a defense that is so relieved you just took that shot because there's no answer for what he's able to do in the restricted area of the floor. And he really played to his strengths last night, and now the Bucks are back in the series.
Again, and we were talking earlier this morning, if you weren't with us, Tim Legler, when the Suns got in foul trouble last night, they had to go to the small lineup, and Giannis was able to dominate. That feels like if they could find a way to do that, if they can find a way to get that sort of dominant interior presence the rest of the series, is that their best way to win? I
mean, Ayton, this is the first time all postseason that he's had 5 fouls. I mean, he's averaged 2.5 fouls, and he's been the key to this Suns team. I mean, obviously the backcourt are their two best players, but Ayton, his presence inside, getting him in foul trouble and taking him out of the game. The Suns lost this game because you can't have Ayton out of the game and Devin Booker not shooting well. And so that's the key. And if Legs, if I'm the Bucks, they have some time here. This is unique because they have two days off because of the All-Star game. I'm focusing on that. How do we continue to get Ayton in foul trouble? And the loss of Dario Saric is glaring right now.
Not till Wednesday, Blake. Yeah,
I completely agree with what Cassidy just said. It has to be a mindset now for Milwaukee, because look at what they put out there when Deandre Ayton picked up that fourth foul in the third quarter. And by the way, he has to be smarter than that. You can't go over and try to contest a shot on Giannis Antetokounmpo coming in. It's 2 points. You let Giannis have that. If you've got 3 fouls and you're Deandre Ayton playing as well as he was in that game, you've got to let Giannis Antetokounmpo go right there. I know that's not much contact on that, but it doesn't matter. Be smarter than that. Monty Williams alluded to it after the game. Deandre Ayton has to stay on the floor, because you look at what they were left with, and now the Milwaukee Bucks are saying if we can get that guy off the floor, there's not much left there at all. Frank Kaminsky's just not a guy that's going to have a physical presence in this series. Torrey Craig is a guy, he's a wing. So you got 2 guards and 3 wings out there trying to play a zone defense. And Giannis Antetokounmpo is going to be intent on trying to destroy that lineup if they put it out there again. Deandre Ayton is the key to the series for the Phoenix Suns, because the one thing the Bucks haven't shown, can they guard Phoenix at full strength for 48 minutes? They certainly didn't do it in the 2 games in Phoenix. We don't know the answer to that, because Deandre Ayton was taken off the floor last night.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.